This is Harry Gines, the first black man of reparations in U.S. history. I'm coming to you today to bring some issues concerning reparations. Is always the forefront, but yet there are many issues along the path of getting there. Today, it seems like we're faced with an icon by the name of Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight is an R&B singer, an elder, and she has elected at a time to sing the United States national anthem. Now, there's been a lot of issues over the national anthem. So today, I'm going to ask everybody to be patient with this video and to give it a chance, because I have nothing but respect for Miss Gladys Knight, and it's very important that everybody can do that. You know, if I can say it, and I'm coming as best I can to represent my best way of letting her know that I support her. Okay, I am the first black man of reparations. So in saying that, if it inspires her to be strong, to go through what she's going through, I have all the faith in the world that Miss Gladys Knight will be able to overcome this and win some sides, some votes, you know, that it was the right thing to do. Now, in saying that, we have a time travel. We will have to do a time travel, just in showing how we've evolved. It's very important that everything must evolve. You may use the word upgrade. You know, that's a term of the 21st century. You know, before it might have been obsolete. You know, but today everything wants to improve on something. So with that being said, if we look at our conduct and our ways of evolving, maybe it's because we haven't upgraded. Tech has done some upgrading. But maybe us as a people, maybe we haven't upgraded yet. And yes, excuse my cough, excuse me. I have illnesses like everybody else this time of year. You know, this would be the coldest day in January of 2019 in Illinois. So it's supposed to be down, 10 below zero without any wind chill. So everybody's down, but yet I'm going to try to stay with this presentation to see if I can fight through my illnesses and my sicknesses to let it be known that Miss Gladys Knight, you are more than welcome, to sing the national anthem at Super Bowl 2019. And if you need me there personally, you feel more than welcome to send for me. If there's any strength that I can give you, you're more than welcome to send for me. I would be honored to escort you. But on a more serious note, let me just do a time travel with you so we can kind of see just how important our national anthem really is and what it's been through, as far as black people is concerned. Because black people, if you really took back in time, that's why I always keep the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man, Mr. Ralph Ellison, a fictional novelist. He created and brought forth the Invisible Man. We know the story, but yet I'm able to conjure him up and do time travels so that maybe in education, you might even come to understand the importance of the national anthem. Now, people like to use the knee, and as you can see, yes, I am a military veteran. Now, before I go any further, let's make sure we understand one thing. This fatigues that I have on, this is not meant to be trending. I am in my place of business, my home, and so always remember that when wearing a military uniform, that this does not represent their opinions or views. This is just out of respect because I am a veteran, but even I know that I should not cast my views when wearing a uniform. But yet, hold on. It's okay. Because like I said, I am for both sides. If you give it a chance, I'll show you. But yes, and wearing the uniform, you can't wear the uniform outside, when you're not, even as a veteran, you should be more respectful of it. You can't send that type of signal that you're representing your country. So in the confines of your home, you can do as you will. And when there's a ceremony, then it's appropriate. So I'm staying within the guidelines, because like I said, this presentation is also an educational piece that at Super Bowl 19, I'm sure the military will be there. So it's a ceremony. When a military uniform is worn at ceremonies, veterans are more welcome to do so. So I'm representing, as a veteran, I would like to send my support, in wearing the attire. That's what it's all about. It has nothing to do with connecting my views or opinions with the uniform. Just because I'm a veteran is the only reason. And I feel that it will give other veterans a chance to step forward, because there's some veterans also who are more shunning the whole event. So be that as it may, that is the gist of this video, to do a time travel to show the importance of the national anthem. Now, true, when the national anthem was written, it's a fact, Black people were enslaved. So it has a history very deep within the Black culture, because those forefathers, when they were writing, they weren't actually writing about Black people. They were speaking of their fellow brethren. Their fellow brethren were actually slave owners. You see, their fellow brothers, the writers of the U.S. Constitution, they were slave owners. The United States practiced slavery. We must understand that. You're in a country that practiced the selling of humans into slavery. Now, understanding that, so it would be contrary to believe that the national anthem would be something that a Black person could actually see, given respect to, because it wasn't written for them. But yet, you are in this country still, and you are free to go and come as you will. You're no longer a slave. No, you're not. Now, you can make all the excuses you want with the psychological effects, this, that, and another. But if you saved your money, yes, you could leave the United States. You see, part of it is that most Black people really don't travel enough. So you would have to know what's really out here besides even the United States. You haven't really had a lot of travel experiences, So there's a reason why I'm mentioning that. The world has evolved in a way that the United States have not yet really upgraded to. What am I speaking of? I'm speaking of security. No, I assure you, other nations around the world do not have the freedoms that we enjoy here in the United States. It's really not that simple, just to cross borders, or it's really not. Everybody has a real guideline to how the movement of foreign people coming in and out of their land. That's very important to do. And it's not really, like I said, noticeable as much in the United States, because the United States is such a massive, body of land. And again, we're talking the United States. So even traveling from state to state, that could be quite a journey. Now, if you were in other lands, that would have seemed like you maybe went through a country already. But yet here in the United States, you just covered one state. So keep that in mind when you're really talking about some of these countries in the size versus the United States in size. Now, that's very important, okay? But the part that we're trying to get at is, why is the national anthem something that should be respected? Well, in the days of the Civil War, we're still doing this time travel. I took you back to the presidents And I told you, they owned slaves. The writers of the Constitution, those people owned slaves. So I'm telling you that. This is not something that you didn't know, but the realism to it is that as those forefathers evolve, this is what you need to understand. You were brought into the United States as a slave, but yet as the humanitarian and what is civilized and uncivilized, those forefathers had to wake up. Like we use the word in term today. They had to wake up and recognize that they could not justify the Constitution and within their practices of slavery. It was totally contrary. You see, so nothing was really adding up. So as the purity of the anthem comes around, you see, so this also sparks the abolitionists of the time of the Civil War. Okay? Now, your anthem is steady flying all throughout the time of the Civil War. Your anthem was very important. But there's a story within every history that sometimes goes missing. So that's why the invisible man has to come to maybe give you a story that maybe you can even say that certain things may not be necessary if you are civilized and have a humanitarian way about yourself. Okay? Let me show you this. If I told you I have a dream, you would automatically think to Martin Luther King. Yes, you would. You would automatically think, if someone said, I have a dream, you would automatically go to Martin Luther King. That is who you would go with. But yet, in using the anthem, it needs to be upgraded. Martin Luther King needs to be upgraded. He had a dream, but today many will tell you it's a nightmare. Yes, but yet if you do the upgrade, where would you go with that? You would go back to recognizing all the ones before you who had to evolve. Everybody has to evolve into something that is civilized. You see, once you become civilized, then you don't really feel that you need weapons at all. Now, let me make that point very clear here. Because lots of times people get a lot of things confused. They want to turn everything into black and white. But yet, if you're really looking at it from an upgrade, it's really not in black and white. The issues today within the black community is black on black violence. You see, now you can turn around and use them little games that you like to play as far as the psychological effects. But there is no white man making you pull that trigger. Yes, all of this is connected. All of this is connected to the national anthem. Yes, it is. Because if you can't find something within the country that you're living in, but yet you want to change the country, you don't have to change the country. You see, no, you don't have to change the country. That is part of the issue that black people can't seem to grasp. You see, you can't grasp the fact that you do not have to change white people. You're free to go. There was once a slogan, America, love it or leave it. And I highly recommend that to people, especially if you can afford it. Why are you here? You don't like the country. You want to change the people within it. Okay. They don't feel the way you do. The only time people can come together to try to show an upgrade to the national anthem and all that it's done, even standing today as strong as it does to try to bond people, yet we still can't act civilized. That is something that you have to recognize. You see, like I mentioned, the I Have a Dream speech. Yes, very powerful speech. But yet, the invisible man, he has a vision also. The vision would be very simple. reparations. All of this is tied and connected to the upgrade to the national anthem. Yes, when your reparation day of independence does come, keep in mind, Harry Guns versus United States is a civil case. A civil case that can be a class action, yes. But yet, let's keep in mind, whose name is on the forefront? Harry Guns. Now keep this in mind. I will show you, yes I will, how to give the respect to the Star Spangled Banner and all of the national anthems that you can find in this country. Yes, all of those anthems are very important. Because for one, if you got reparations, you see, Harry Guns has requested enough that he would practically have a state. You see, but now keep one thing in mind. There are rights such as the Second Amendment. But now I make statements sometimes on Twitter where people don't really understand. You see, because I am the first man of reparations entitled to monetary and land. That's a fact. So now in saying that, hold on. Do I have a right to have what I can see as what's best? You see, because it's hard for people to say that. What is best? There's so many, everybody is going their own different directions, but yet claiming to know. Nobody can really have the blueprint or actually know. You can try something. Martin Luther King, he's an experiment. He tried something. Didn't know if it would work. We're in a fallout of that right now. But my whole point is, back to Harry Guns versus the United States and his challenge to the I Have a Dream speech. Because I don't see it as Martin Luther King did. You see, no, I don't. Not as we give respect to the country. We give respect to it. But I don't see things as Martin Luther King did. We want to make that perfectly clear. And there are a lot of icons I may not see things as they did. Why is that? Because I'm trying to bring an upgrade. And what is an upgrade? First and foremost, let's just look at it this way, because no one really understands the statement I'm making when I say you don't need a gun. Yeah, no, you don't need a gun. I say that because, for one, the land that is due Harry Guns versus the United States, that's the same difference if that was my yard and my property. So therefore, no, you are not welcome with your guns. You want to do what you do down in the hood? You do what you do down in the hood, but if you find yourself on Harry Guns' property, why would I bring a gun to your property? So, am I right or wrong when I'm saying I don't want you on my property with no guns? Now, if I got a whole state, I don't know how to tell you this, but you need to figure out how to keep your guns somewhere else. That's the only way I can deal with you. And I'm not trying to say I gotta search you, but if you are found with having a weapon of a firearm, I look at that as a weapon of mass destruction. Yes, I do. Because when your forefathers wrote the Second Amendment, make sure you understand. Remember about that upgrade. The upgrade on a black powder pistol versus a 6 repeating pistol, you know, it's a big difference. And today, just a single shot versus a pistol that can only shoot 6 times, a revolver, you know, that's a big upgrade. So when you're talking pistols that can shoot more than 6 times, you know, and having what they call assault weapons within society, no, that is not what your forefather who wrote the Constitution had in mind. That's a weapon of mass destruction. That is what it is. So you can break it down any kind of way you want. I mean, but I need to know when you're on my land, what is your intent to have a gun on my land? If I came to your house, you would do the same thing. Why would I come to your house with a pistol? See, wouldn't that be strange? Okay, if I got a state, don't make no difference how much land I got. You own my land with a gun. Yes, I'm questioning that. See, Martin Luther King has a dream. But Harry Gans versus the United States, he also has a vision also. It don't include guns. Take what I'm trying to give you, envision the world as civilized without guns. That's all I'm trying to give you. Now, if you can't live like that, every time you get in your feelings and emotions, you feel you need to go get a gun. That's what you're doing. You see, and all of this is connected to the national anthem. Yes, it is. You got a long way of showing that you can be civilized in the 21st century. You haven't shown it. You see, if you're just looking at the races being in black and white, well, those numbers are high on the black end as far as black on black violence. But yet, if you're looking in the 21st century, you're also seeing, these multiple killings by white people, killing other white people, just killing at random, at large. These kind of killings like that puts you in the spotlight. You're not civilized. Look, how are you going to convince me you're civilized? Look, on Martin Luther King Day, that it recognized, more than the states, most states recognize Martin Luther King as a holiday. But in Springfield, Illinois, a baby was shot, 7-month-old baby. 7 months. That's all the baby was shot in the stomach. You see, now, am I supposed to explain how that could happen? No, I'm not going to try to explain how it could happen. I don't want you on my property with a gun. And that's all connected with the national anthem. You can believe that. And that I Have a Dream speech, it's a wonderful speech. It is. It's a wonderful speech. But the Harry Gans vision is an upgrade. That is what you need. You need an upgrade to all of that because something ain't working. You don't want to do the national anthem. You don't want to look at any of the mass destructions that are going on every day within your community. Since Malcolm X was killed by a black man, how many millions of black men have killed each other, in one way or another? Being incarcerated, where the other one goes in the grave. You see, now those numbers total in the millions. So something ain't right. And you can look at me and say, well, I carry a pistol anywhere I want to. Not on my land you won't. No, I'm not having that. I'm not having it because I know you may say a whole lot of things out your mouth, but just the fact you got a gun, I don't want nothing to do with you, man. You do not need a gun. I'm gonna show you. You don't deal with conflict at all, really. You're too emotional of people to have a gun. But hold on, I'm gonna show it to you. We was doing a time travel. Remember the time travel now. I'm show it to you. How history can leave out a story. Very important story, matter of fact, in dealing with conflict, okay, with weapons. Now, during the time of the Civil War, Grant, in his travels through Missouri, now Missouri is also a place where Jesse James those are Jesse James people, okay, down in the Boot Hills of Missouri. But hold on, Grant down in there looking, okay. But what did he come across? He come across a man by the name of Brigham Young. Now, make note of that, Brigham Young. Now today, Brigham Young has a university, named after him, and they have a nice section of land out in Utah. Now, how did that happen? Now, originally, like I said, Grant was on patrol, and he came across these people who acted like they really just didn't have any care, or they were desensitized, or he really couldn't even, analyze their emotions at all because they was like in a time capsule themselves. They knew maybe a war was going on, some fighting, something was going on, but they didn't look at themselves as being associated with that. You see, so Grant approached Brigham Young with this community that he has. It's like a paradise in the middle of a war zone. So he's looking around and he's seeing 10,000 men. 10,000 men walking around, they scrapped and walking around with their black powder guns, everything fine. How you doing? Ain't nothing wrong. This is a community. But hold on, hold on. Grant say, look, I mean, are y'all for real? I mean, don't y'all know it's a war going on right now? Again, Brigham Young was a peaceful man. He didn't see the connection with what was going on to have a connection with that to his people, that he was in charge of these 10,000 men with guns. Well, Grant say, well, look, this ain't gonna work. Your hospitality is wonderful, and we all getting along right here, but it can't be like this. He said, and I really don't have time. This has to be immediate. I need to see what you gonna do with these 10,000 men that are armed. Now, I don't want him to disarm. He don't want to disarm. He want to know, what are they going to do? Are they going to fight? Or are they going to disarm? He don't know what to do with them. It's 10,000 men. So Brigham Young said, well, wait a minute. You getting it all twisted up. You want us to disarm, but we don't have an interest in disarming because we have to feed ourselves. You see, but in fighting you, I have no interest in fighting you. Why do I have to fight you? This is Brigham Young speaking. Like I said, they don't know whether to disarm. Why would they want to disarm? That's their livelihood. That's what a weapon was for under the Second Amendment. Okay? But yet, something this is not adding up. Okay? And like Grant is trying to explain, listen, I don't have time for this. Okay? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna make this an exception to the rule. By noon tomorrow, you and I gonna hit the streets and we're going to duel to the death. Or your people gonna leave up out of here. That's what I want to see. One or the other. So by the moment, we're gonna fast forward. Next day then pass. Guess what? Brigham Young was able to assemble his men, his women, all the families, and they were heading out. You see, that's 10,000 armed men. Grant say, well, hold on. I mean, is that which way? Where are you going? Wait a minute. You leaving? Okay, that's good. But where you going? You can't go back that way because the Confederates are that way. And these kind of men, if the Confederates catch up with you, they're going to, have you merging in with them. Believe that. So Grant say, well, look, if you don't want to fight, then go west. Okay, and that's where the slogan came from. The slogan, go west, young man. That is the slogan, because Brigham Young there wasn't a regiment, he just took his community and he headed west. Found land out in Utah, and that's the story of Brigham Young. That is a true story. But wait, have you ever remembered Grant's Farm? Yes, well, that's the actual story. That is the land, actually, that Brigham Young was ran off of. That's a true story. Yes, Grant's Farm is like a zoo, exotic animals and stuff like that, where it is today. But during, the days of the Civil War, it was a paradise. So they had to leave. All of this is connected to the national anthem. Believe that. Okay, but as we move forward, we have to recognize having a weapon is not necessary. Now, if you missed the story that I just gave you, there was conflict. So make sure that you're not missing the story. Why I say it's not necessary to have a gun, especially if you're within the confines of your properties. Why do you feel you need to have a gun? And if you do have a gun, you have to keep in mind, those forefathers didn't have the vision that you would have such weapons of mass destruction. Because that is really, something that needs to be removed. It's just that simple. Now you can fight with it back and forth however way you want. But I'll assure you this, weapons of mass destruction are not necessary in trying to resolve conflict. That is where where you become civilized. You're not civilized. I don't know how to civilize you other than to separate from you because you're not civilized. You can believe that. That's all you're doing every day on these mainstream news stations. Somebody's showing somebody out here killing each other with a gun. You see, so when you start talking about the national anthem, there's a lot of blood on that. A lot of blood on that national anthem. So we have all met with the feel of that blood in some way, shape, or fashion. That is what I'm trying to say to you about that national anthem. You see, but always remember, when it comes to being a man or a woman, you see, I have upgraded the I Have a Dream speech because today, such a dream, you see, as Martin Luther King visioned, it's got too many guns in it. You see, it's got too many guns in his dream. Take them guns out. That you can believe. On my land, it won't be. It can't be. It will not mix for what goals I would like to see the people be able to enjoy as Martin wanted, but it really ain't like that though. His dream is a nightmare. So first things first, recognize that when the reparations do come, whatever piece you got, whatever piece Harry Guns got, all I'm asking for is don't bring a gun on my property. I appreciate it very much. And Miss Gladys Knight, they're all yours. I hope that you can be able to give us a performance that will make us proud to understand the importance of the United States national anthem. Thank you, ma'am. And